Can you carry me?
I'm going to touch myself and cast light.
Cyrus, no!
I trust your whiskey taste. I trust your judgment.
So it can speak. We get its tongue now.
I'm not sure there's been an occasion where any of us have been particularly stealthy.
It probably wouldn't have worked, but we should have tried. Why are we so stupid?
I think the lesson from this is that I need to stop listening to you guys.
And it's at this moment we realize the DM is an idiot. Hello everyone, and welcome to the third installment of As Below, So Above. Where we last left our heroes, they had returned the eyes to the seer, and he was very grateful that you were able to do this, and he gave you a quest to help the other two sages of this realm to help protect it. You need to help find someone's ability to listen and someone's ability to speak. And they told you to head to the Mirage Market. And you guys were pointed off in direction, and now you have ventured on down some kind of road. Road is a loose term here. It's a path you can walk on, and there's not a whole bunch of things that make it difficult terrain. Seems like a traveled path in the dirt. You're walking around. You see the occasional fiend flying about in the air. You see some awful creatures off in the distance, but they're not coming close to you and seem to be mulling around, minding their own business or what have you. You come to a point in the road, and it forks into three separate directions. There's a sign, and I believe some party member speaks Infernal here. Can I get a hand? Okay. Yeah, so your good pal Orpheus sees this sign in Infernal that says, so there's three arrows, and it says Mirage Market, but it's at the top of where all three arrows are pointing to. So you can imagine the three come up like this from the one direction, and then right here it just says Mirage Market. You can roll a investigation check to see if you understand what the sign is trying to say.
Ooh, 14.
Nice. You're pretty sure the sign is telling you that it does not matter which way you travel, you will end up at Mirage Market.
All roads lead to Mirage Market.
All roads lead to Mirage Market.
Looking
Well,
around,
that's a funny
is
looking
there...
sign.
I think we should go straight. I think straight is the way to go.
I don't think it really matters. I think we're gonna end up there no matter what we do.
So straight.
Looking around, does it look like there's any like footprints or anything to indicate that one path is more traveled than the others?
Yeah, looking around, it seems that the straight path that Hati wants to go on is the most traveled path. The other ones seem to be the road less traveled, or the roads less traveled.
You know, there is
Which
something
path
to
dare
be
you
said.
take?
There is something to be said about taking the road less traveled.
You're not very original,
like,
Hattie, are
straight.
you?
But straight is the way to go. It's just like a feeling I have, you know? Sometimes you just know.
Just take the middle road, always in the middle.
Always in the middle.
That's such a cop-out.
Is it more virtuous to take the high road because the high road is referred to as virtuous, or is it more virtuous to take the low road because it is the road lesser traveled, the more arduous road?
It
That's a
depends
good
on whether or
point.
not it's a metaphor, the high or low road.
Well,
It
is
is.
there a
I
high
think we
road
have to
or a
assume that it's
low
a
road?
metaphor.
Or are all the roads the same height?
Looking at the levelness of the ground, you notice that ever so slightly the center seems to be higher just because of a crown that the ground seems to have.
Oh no.
So straight is the high road.
Straight does
Straight
appear to be
is
the
the-
high road.
Interesting.
I'm just saying, guys. Straight.
That's a good point. But we may find people to help along the way if we go the road less traveled, rather than just going on this
Well, there's
high
a more
road.
likelihood of we find people along the way in the straight road because there's
I
gonna be
guess
more people.
It's the more trodden path.
That is true, yeah.
Some say that the journey is the destination.
We're trying to get to Mirage Market, Sims.
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
It's all right. You're trying, and that's what matters.
Thank you, Cyrus. Thank you.
I
Just wanted to contribute.
I know I'm quibbling with everything, but trying isn't what matters. Trying is what got us here. If we'd all been more successful,
No,
Don't
no,
look at me,
dying is
I'm
what
gonna
got
stop.
us
I'm gonna
here.
stop.
Not
I'm gonna
true.
just gonna walk with Samson in the back here.
I
No, guys,
helped.
don't feel bad. This is a safe space. Everyone should be welcome to speak up whenever they want.
Does that mean if we agree with someone strongly, we should say so?
Yeah, I think so.
What if we agree
And
with
if we
someone
disagree?
weakly?
I think if you disagree, then you can absolutely bring it up, but I think that there's a polite way of doing it.
Well, I think
I'm
that's
gonna
dumb.
think about this in
Oh.
some detail and try to commit myself to practicing disagreeing gently in the future.
Okay.
Is it
And,
really more virtuous to disagree gently, though? There are some holy orders that will tell you to speak your mind forcefully, because to be too diplomatic is to speak falsely.
True.
Drives a
you know,
lot of people
that's a really
crazy.
good point.
If you say the truth, you're being more honest to the person, and that could actually be help them more.
Exactly.
With so
Or
many conflicting
harshness
religions.
Could cut
Go
them
ahead.
down,
Hmm.
and you could cause unnecessary damage.
I don't think there's one right answer. There's so many different religions out there that all have their own belief system. There's the
But
God of
we're
life
in
and there's the
hell.
God of death. There's so many different ways of viewing the world, and finding that one true path is really about finding what's inside your heart. And I think that that's what we need to believe in.
Cyrus,
Straight
What's
path?
I mean,
love you,
sure,
Cyrus.
if
We're just trying to pick a road. It's not that complicated.
It really isn't. That's what I'm saying. Straight.
but what does your heart tell you, Samson?
Straight.
It sounds like straight. That's what I heard.
Oh,
I
Well-
listened to my heart and said straight.
maybe we could take, since all roads lead to the Mirage Market, maybe we
All
each
roads
go on
lead
our
to
own
my
path.
heart. Let's go straight.
If we split up and we take different roads,
Cyrus, no. This is
But
not the
I-
sort of place we should be splitting up.
as long as we all follow our own internal
Not at a fork in
truths,
the
that's
road.
what matters.
Oh, I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think that is what matters. I think we're gonna all die if we do that.
I mean, aren't we all dead?
Is this the point where I say I strongly agree with someone? I strongly agree with Orpheus.
Thank you, Jens.
You're welcome, Orpheus. I don't know if I'm actually being helpful or virtuous, but I do agree with you.
I feel like we shouldn't worry too much about making sure that every decision we make is virtuous. Then we just get caught up in the moral dilemma of it all, and we just need to act in the moment.
Okay, I was just about ready to go. We don't need to worry about getting caught up if every act is virtuous? Did you miss the last everything?
Okay, but then we start getting into the discussion of if you're only acting a certain way to be virtuous and to get this self-benefit, is it truly virtuous anymore?
I mean, what's
I'm
the
not
alternative?
not even worried about self-benefit. I'm just trying to be virtuous, and I don't know what that is. To Orpheus's point, I think splitting up would lead to our failure. If we proceed on the assumption that success is more virtuous and failure is less virtuous, or at least less of a reward for
Our
virtue or lack
success
thereof,
could help people, so
then
you make a good point.
okay, that's good. That's good. We're kind of on the same page there.
Okay.
So I think
gonna-
from that, it follows that you must keep people together, moving in the same order, and that is virtuous.
Okay.
You should, Cyrus, as our default leader, I think you should be more assertive.
You
Well-
want
while you guys are having this conversation, I want you to continue it, but while you're having this conversation, Emily, Orpheus notices just like several tens of feet into the main trail, the straight path that Hati wants to take, there appears to be a couple of tattered shirts off to the side and what looks like an eye mask. So just like one that cuts here.
Just
Just laying on the ground there.
just laying on the ground.
Just laying on the ground there. Yeah. You're
I'm
the
gonna
only
go
one who
look at
seems to
them.
notice this. Okay. So sorry, continue with your conversation, you two.
So
You need to be more
again,
assertive.
Yeah, I really appreciate that you consider me, some sort of like leader or figurehead of this party, but just as one lowly man trying to become a god, I don't think that that's necessarily my rightful place. I'm happy to consult on any sort of moral ambiguities that you may encounter, but leader of the party seems a bit extreme.
As
You
you
know, it
finish
seems
that
immoral,
sentence, sorry.
making us all wait while we figure this out. Having this conversation take 20 minutes. That seems like a bit of a moral dilemma, if you ask me.
As Samson imparts these wise words onto you, you notice the absence of one of your party members. And upon looking for said party member, you notice that he is just down the path that Hati wanted to go, seeming to have some items in hand.
Oh,
Oh,
well,
finally, let's go.
Hati is
I
down that
guess-
path? Or
I
Varo
guess
is down that
sticking
path?
follow
together
him.
is important.
Hati's got the right idea. I follow him.
It was Orpheus had already ventured down that path while you guys were in the middle of your philosophical conversation. I think everyone else has now followed.
Okay, as we follow, so we're not falling behind. As an aside to Cyrus, I say maybe you're right. Need someone a little more assertive. Maybe Orpheus is in fact the leader.
Orpheus does seem to be making decisions for
Making
us.
decisions. Yeah, we just all got to keep going the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
I will throw Orpheus in whatever direction I'm instructed to. That's all I know.
I appreciate that, Samson. I'll let you know what direction we need him to go.
Thanks, Cyrus.
Well, no. Won't Orpheus let him know what direction he needs to go?
I won't get caught up. Somebody tells me to
No.
throw Orpheus, I'll just do it.
It's a teamwork. We all have to believe in the same goal. We all need to believe in the same direction to throw Orpheus.
Am I hearing this?
They're saying this
am?
all as they walk up to you, and yeah, you're just inspecting these items you've just picked up, which is two tattered cotton t-shirts and then the mask. There's just one mask. It's not got a strap that holds it in place. You have to hold it up with a little wooden stick.
What kind of vibe am I getting from this stuff?
It doesn't give off any sort of magic-y kind of vibe, if that's the sort of thing you're hinting at, but other than that, they kind of seem just like fun items that people would have. Like they're just extra shirts and then a mask. It's not anything
Interesting.
super fancy. It's just it's got a black canvas to it, and then it just fits over the face with no distinguishing characteristics other than it would just meld to a humanoid's face, basically.
Interesting. What happens if I put it on my face?
You have a mask on your face.
Okay, there's nothing weird that happens.
Nothing weird happens.
Okay.
How does it-
What colors
does
are what colors are the shirts?
They're just an off-white. You can tell at one point they used to be a crisp white, but they've clearly been down here for some time and as such have been stained and not well kept.
Okay.
There's no obvious like big holes in them or anything, but there are some tearings and some stuff like that around the edges.
Interesting.
How form-fitting is the mask to Orpheus's face? Does it look like it would belong better on someone else's face?
You know what? I want you to do a wisdom-based perception check.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wisdom, eh? That's
Yeah.
gonna be a 0.
No!
You think it looks pretty bad on Orpheus. You think it would look better on yourself. You're pretty sure it's meant to be fit on your face.
Hey, Orpheus, can I see that mask for a second, actually?
Why?
I just want to try it on. It looks good on you, but I'm wondering how it'll look on me too.
You don't strike me as a mask guy, to be honest.
That's a really good point. I think it is good to show my face. So, I was just curious to see how it fits.
Okay, yeah, sure. I'll give
Thanks.
it to Cyrus.
We'll
Yeah.
put it on, see how it
Feels a little
fits on my
tight.
face. Hmm. Oh,
On second thought, you think it probably fit Orpheus's face better than your face. Maybe it's your nose. It might be just a little bit broader than Orpheus, but yeah, it
Right.
doesn't fit quite as nice.
well, that wasn't quite as I expected. Sorry about that. You can have this back.
No, it doesn't suit you, you know? We need to see your face. It shines.
Well, thanks.
Then I'll put it back on my face.
I do like to clean up regularly.
Good for you.
Would the party continue on walking down the path as you guys do this interaction? Okay,
Yeah.
getting some nods. Cool. You guys wander down for what feels like a few hours, and then you come upon another fork in the road, again with a similar sign that none of you can read except for the people who speak Infernal, which, if I recall from my roll call earlier, was Orpheus. And that's the full list. So Orpheus, you see yet another sign, and this time you guys are going on the straight path, and there's a path just off to the left and just off to the right. Again, these seem like a little bit more of a deer trail kind of path. It's just kind of rock and other sort of things that are separating it out, so there's not like bushwhack or anything like that, but they seem a little bit narrower. And again, you see that same pronged sign that just says at the top, Mirage Market. Do you want to point out the sign? It does look unique in the sense of it was handcrafted. So if someone didn't read the language, it would just look like another direction sign.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just pointing like there's a bunch of different directions and they all lead to Mirage Market again.
They all lead to Mirage Market again. Yeah.
I'll point it out again. Guys, I think this is a trap.
I mean,
Just it keeps saying that we're gonna end up in Mirage Market. I wonder if this is like the plane is round, and so if we keep going in one direction, we'll eventually go around the entire place and eventually get to Mirage Market. Or does it mean I don't know.
does it mean that we're already in Mirage Market?
Maybe it's a mirage, and we'll never quite get there. Now,
No.
I kind of go up to the sign and I just try to touch it and see if there's like anything.
is it
You
a
touch
real
it,
sign?
it feels like a normal sign. It's carved out of stone and just kind of propped up against the rock. So it's not like a wooden sign stuck into the ground sort of thing. It's just a slab of stone with this etched into it.
I'd backtrack like several hundred feet, so not so far that I ever like totally lose sight of the party, but I'm just
Yeah.
seeing if the path that we took to get here is still here.
Oh, the path behind you?
Yeah, that we've already walked. Is it
go
still
back-
there? Does it still look the same?
You go back about 100 feet and it looks to be the same path. The path seemed to go straight the whole time. You didn't seem to be doing any twists and turns. It just felt like a straight road. And you go back several hundred feet. You can see your friends off in the distance. Same sort of path looks like. But again, you're not sure because you can see quite a ways down the path. You guys have been walking for several hours now.
Okay, I'll rejoin everyone else.
That was a good thought there, Jens. I was thinking the same thing. You know, if every direction is pointing to Mirage Market except for the way behind us. Very interesting.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking of that. I was
Oh,
wondering if we were trapped in some sort of mirage.
you know, we very well could be.
Very well could be.
Maybe we should start leaving markers for ourselves so that, you know, if we need to, we can go back. Or if we come across, you know, ourselves or like our markers again, we'll know we're going around in a circle.
That's a great idea, Cyrus.
Mhm.
I have 500 ball bearings. So
Great. What do you want to do with them?
we can just drop them along the way as we walk.
Perfect.
I like it.
How spaced out do you want to drop those swap? Like every couple hundred feet, every 10 feet?
Every 100 feet or so.
Every 100 feet or so? Okay. So D&D rules is you guys walk 3 miles an hour. So there are, for purposes of quick math, we'll just say there's 5,000 feet in a mile. And
Okay.
But there's
then if you're-
5,380.
280.
280.
Yeah, well, you know what's 280 feet between friends, Emily? Come on.
That's fair. That's fair.
So that's what, 15,000 feet. So that's 150 ball bearings
And I have
So you
at least 500.
you have at least 500. So okay, yeah. So you start doing this. I just want to know like how far until you run out of ball bearings. So it sounds like you guys can travel for at least 3 hours to 4 hours, because 3 hours you'll be at 450, and then sometime in that
It
fourth
says
hour.
the bag says that it has between 500 to 1,000. So
Yeah, yeah. So after 4, I need to start rolling some dice to decide when you run out of ball bearings. Because the reason I wrote it like that, Swap, is because you use those like on the floor to make it difficult terrain and someone can fall prone, but you can use it this way. So definitely do it. But that's why I didn't specify the exact number.
I figured. Yep.
Okay, so you guys are walking, you're placing those down. Are you guys
Before
Sorry, go
we
ahead.
leave this spot, I want to do like a couple circuits around, maybe send like Vero and Samson out, like just do some widening circles to Hati's point of maybe every direction is Mirage Market because we're already in Mirage Market.
What do you
You're
mean when
gonna
you
go
say
off the
widening
path?
circles?
So like start at our middle point, do like
Yeah.
a little circle around it, and then go a little wider, and then go out, and then go a little wider.
Okay. Eventually you get to the boundaries of the trail because it's just kind of jagged rock on both sides and it's really difficult to climb on there. You kind of just be like scrambling around. You wouldn't really be able to walk too easily in there. But yeah, you do the circles around everyone. And what sort of thing are you looking for? Because I was just gonna say you notice nothing, but I'm not sure what you're trying to notice. So.
I'm looking for any signs of illusion magic that are tripping us up. So I am intermittently also grabbing a bunch of rocks and like hucking them around like I would to try to break a basic illusion level.
I see what you're doing. Okay. I'm going to do something for you then. Yeah, so you're throwing your rocks and they're hitting off of things like you would normally expect in the material world to happen. So you're not seeing any signs of the terrain that is an illusion. You touch it, it feels like rock and all that stuff. So whatever is happening, if there is anything happening, it's not an illusion.
Well, I must say, I feel like we've been walking in circles.
Haha.
Nice.
Cyrus is going to.
I say that very earnestly, very sincerely.
Good. Cyrus is going to look at the back of the sign to see if there's any sort of hints or anything just on the back.
You flip over the sign. It's quite heavy, so you kind of just tilt it a little bit because you don't want to pick the whole thing up. And you notice that it's not a slab in that it's a thin slice of stone. It seems that someone took a rock and then it's been cut so that it has a smooth face. So the back is just kind of like a bulbous stone with, all sorts of kind of shapes to it. But nothing cryptic on the back, like clues or magical whatevers.
Let's go right.
Is there anyone like around? Like you said earlier that there were things flying around.
Yeah, that's kind of just off in the distance, like the ambient environment that you're in. Kind of like if you were in the material plane, Emily, and I said, "Oh, there's some trees off in the distance. You hear some birds chirping." You know,
Here's a bunch of fiends.
There's a bunch of fiends flying around. Monsters
Some lava
milling
is
about.
splurting everywhere. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Cool.
Just the vibe.
And is there still the majority of footprints just going down the straightaway path?
I guess there's only 2 paths now.
It's not so much footprints, Clay, but more what you'd expect to see on a trail that's traveled well, where the ground just seems to be trampled a little bit and impacted. Yeah, it's worn down more here.
So
maybe at the edges you see some kind of footmarks, but not really. Sorry, Swap. You're saying it's 2 paths this way, right?
Yeah, is it just 2 right now? Or is it still 3?
Well, the one you're on, and then the 2 forks, so 3 total.
Okay.
But
I see. Oh, let's go right this time.
Orpheus, what do you think?
Wow.
That's so mean. I'm gonna like throw up a dagger and see which way it points when it lands.
Okay. I'll roll a d4. because there is no D3. It points to the direction which you came.
Well,
I'm
1,
gonna
2,
nod
3,
time to go
4.
wisely
home, guys.
as though it means something and say, I think we should go right.
Let's go to the right.
Hmm.
Told you.
You know, in all my times when I've had to choose between right and wrong, I've always chose right, and it never steered me wrong.
Good for you, Vero.
That's
Nice.
So
that's
we should
very
go with the
wise.
right.
Right is always right. I like that.
You know it's true when it rhymes.
So does that mean
This is the same
like
word.
I'm sorry, I'm just getting to know you. Do you mean literally if two people were in a disagreement and you had to decide who to trust, you would just pick the person on the right?
Vero's gonna totally ignore that question and just whistle and stroll right by.
Oh, I love it.
He doesn't have time for that in his life.
Clay, gain inspiration, please.
It's like, don't mess with me.
Well, either way, we've decided where we're going.
Yep. To the right.
Let's go, team.
So you guys venture down this new path, and it's narrower, so you have to walk single file, whereas the other path, it was wide enough that you could almost all walk in a line beside each other. So you're going single file, and this path is weaving in and out. It's kind of going up and down, almost like a mountain biking trail, but none of the pleasant scenery of nature, just the unpleasant scenery of abominations and fiends and lava and the smell of death. And
Good
as
stuff.
you walk up this path for another hour, so we have now dropped 150 ball bearings. Or sorry, was that right? No.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that was right. That's what we figured.
Mhm.
Yep, 150 ball bearings. You come to another fork, except this one just has two directions, going right and going left. And this time there is no sign, but a large humanoid skull just kind of sit just at the front of the fork of the road, almost where you'd find your bare left or right sign if this was a highway. And the skull kind of has this very faint black smoke coming out of its eyes and just billowing upwards a little bit. And its mouth is open, jaw is slack on the ground, and you all pause for a sec at this skull as it's an odd sight, and you hear very faintly just the sound of I don't know if that picked
Cyrus?
up in the mic, but just a soft breathing.
It did. It was very creepy.
Cyrus
Good.
is going to walk right up to it, kneel down, put his hands together, and say, "Oh, Skull, which way to Mirage Market?"
As you clasp your hands in a prayer fashion and ask the skull for guidance, with your eyes closed, you don't see this, but everyone else sees this. The skull, in a very bizarre fashion, sticks its tongue out and pierces its not lips and goes very wet-like, and it's spewing all in Cyrus's face.
I'm just laughing.
Cyrus is a little startled by this, but
And then you
keeps his
guys hear
eyes
the skull
closed.
go.
Well, isn't that lovely? Ugh.
Yeah.
You know, I thought it was cool until it had a tongue. Then it was a little unsettling. Why does it have a tongue?
Upon hearing that comment, Emily, the tongue slithers out like it's a serpent and goes just at you in an antagonizing way.
How? Why?
That's actually cool. I'm gonna try and pick it up.
Roll a athletics check for me, please.
Athletics. Let's see. Ooh. No negatives. Yes. That is going to be an 18.
Oh, nice. You start to pick up the skull and you clasp it, take it off the ground about a foot, and then all of a sudden the skull goes, "Nyah." Re-roll that for me, please.
So cursed. So cursed.
8.
You are unable to pick up the skull. As you get it about a foot off the ground, it just gets unbearably heavy and you have no choice but to place it back down.
God damn.
And then the
Samson, you wanna
skull,
help?
and then the skull laughs at you in the same way it laughed at Cyrus. Yeah.
So
Samson,
what you're saying is you don't know the way to Mirage Market.
I
The
take
skull
out
does not
my
respond.
I take out my big club, and I start to kind of inch towards the skull, and I go, Is it bonking time?"
Now, Samson, we don't want to be hurting innocent random skulls. That's not nice.
Counterpoint. Demonic skull that terrifies people. Probably bad.
We don't
Vero,
know that this is
care
a
to weigh
bad
in?
skull. What? It
Hear me
hasn't
out.
hurt us.
Hear me out. It talks, right? And we were looking for someone who lost their ability to talk.
Well, it
Hmm.
hasn't talked yet.
It makes noise and it has a tongue.
Good point.
So it's
Very good
possible
point.
that
Very good point.
do
This
we
could
have to like
be the sage that we're looking for.
Or just the skull of the sage? Just the tongue of the sage?
they stole his tongue and they put it in this cursed skull? Because there's no reason a skull should have a tongue otherwise.
When you say
So-
that, the skull does the mouth fart again.
So what you're saying is you want to steal this skull's tongue.
I like that.
Wouldn't a skull that has the tongue of someone like that, like the person without their ability to speak, if it's the tongue, wouldn't that skull then logically be able to speak?
No.
Now, like the
If-
power of speech was transferred from this sage to this skull.
Quick physiology lesson for you, Cyrus.
Yeah.
If you had the top of your head cut off, your tongue would no longer be able to speak.
It's very true.
But I'd still have a tongue, so why
You'd
wouldn't
still
I
have,
be able to
you'd
speak?
still have a tongue. Your I gotta make some quick decisions about what the medical knowledge in the home city is. Your through an unknown alchemical means, your brain transmits signals to your tongue that allows it to speak. Perhaps the cranium is the seat of the soul, which we have now lost.
Ah.
Wow. How do you know all of this? That's amazing.
I was in school for a long time.
Ah, interesting.
That's very impressive knowledge. It's like you're able to understand the body's inner workings. That's beautiful.
To a certain extent.
It's cool.
I just
Some
Another
magic.
a burning question I've had for a long time. That's I think anyway. It's a little bit hazy. I don't remember exactly where I picked it up. One of the gods, some of the gods and goddesses allied with my own patron god of my city, were patrons of medical knowledge. One would think, being gods, they would have omnipotent knowledge about the inner workings of the body, and yet they did not see fit to share that with people who wanted to help, which seems a conundrum. And I
wouldn't
I
put
don't
it-
know what to do with that question.
I don't want to downplay the amazing power of gods, but sometimes they don't know everything, and maybe the inside of a humanoid it's a mystery to them as much as it is to us.
I lean on my large club and I go, "So should I smack this thing or what?"
I like, it's not doing anything wrong right now. I don't think we need to
Spit on you.
My soul and my ego can bear it. Thank you though for looking out for me.
No, not in my house. I pick up my club and I smack the skull.
Oh
Roll an attack for me, please.
Cyrus try and like defend the skull in some way? Like try and like either grab the club or block it with his body.
Jeez.
Wait.
I rolled a 4.
No need.
Okay. I'll still try. Like I'll like be like no.
Well,
wait.
okay. So Samson goes with his club, and then Cyrus just goes, "No, not today," and then grabs the club at mid swing there. With the attack roll of 4, I think we could do that.
Fair enough.
I just hold on to your wrist. Like no, you don't get like don't start that swing. We don't need to go there.
But Cyrus, this skull is taunting me. It's hurting for a smack.
Then
Look at
let's
it.
just leave. We don't need to stay here. We can go.
The
I
skull
suppose.
laughs maniacally and goes, "Ha ha ha, cowards!"
You see?
So it can speak.
It
We
can
Love it.
speak.
we get its tongue. We get its tongue now.
No, lots of things can speak, guys. We should find the sage first, and then we can maybe come back to this skull if it happens to be this.
What if someone else takes it and then the sage's voice is lost forever and we have done a terrible thing?
Well, oh, Hati, how you tried picking up the skull?
Yeah, so we just take its tongue.
Well, yeah, but you weren't able to take it.
I wasn't able to pick up the entire skull, but I could if we just blink it, as Samsung's words, you know.
No, but if Hati isn't able to
We
pick
might
it up,
damage it.
I don't think that anyone else will be able to take it away either.
You know, I'm very strong. I'd like to try.
Okay.
Exactly.
Can I try to pick it up?
Sorry, I'm just laughing because you said you're very strong. Because your dubstep is straight.
I'm very
But
strong.
yeah, you can try
Don't
and-
judge. Anyone can have their moment.
Yes, that's
I
true.
believe Orpheus looks very strong. I'm sure Orpheus was much stronger in the before 4 time.
You know, Orpheus does look like a very fit kind of dude, very lean. And yeah, Orpheus, try and pick this up for me. Roll an athletics check.
12.
Nice. You start to successfully pick this thing up. It gets about a foot up, and then it goes, and re-roll that for me, please.
Abejo.
Nat 20, here it
Fun,
comes.
fun. 15.
Oh.
15. It gets very heavy, but you muster the strength. You really like squeeze in tight, and you pick the thing up, and you're now holding the skull. And it's going, "No, you weren't supposed to hold me."
I will like pat it on the head, like sort of condescendingly.
You're not sure how it's doing this because it doesn't have skin and muscles, but it's frowning its eye sockets at you. So it's going like this. So it's furrowing its brow, even though it doesn't have one. So it's just morphing the skull shape.
Be like, Hati, you couldn't pick this up. It's so light.
I just wanted to give other people the chance.
It's like weighs nothing.
Well,
It's
well,
okay. We all have our weaknesses, and I guess some of our weaknesses are our physical strength, and that's okay. That's okay.
As
Hey,
Orpheus
hey.
is doing this, you can tell that he's gaslighting you because you can see him visibly struggling to do all those motions with the skull.
Oh yeah, like you know, if it's so light, why don't you just throw it up a little? I just want to see, you know, exactly how strong you are.
I don't want to damage it.
I thought you wanted to cut its tongue out.
No, I think we should take it with us, and then because we might damage the tongue if we try to cut it out.
Okay. I mean, I guess if you're strong, you can just carry it the entire way then.
You know, like I might want someone else to have a try just because it's a really great experience holding it, and I think it would be helpful for other people to hold it because it would be good for them, and it would be bad for me, but it would be good for them.
I would have a try. I am also very strong, and I would be curious to converse with the skull.
All right, I will
Um,
hand you the skull.
As
Oh, God.
you hand it over to Jens, you hear the skull go, "No, touchy," and the skull vanishes.
No.
Everyone make an intelligence-based perception check.
5.
Nice.
13.
Nice.
Not one.
Nice.
0.
7.
I heard a 7. Was that you, Clay?
That's
Okay.
Vero, yep.
Okay, but I heard a 12. Someone got a 12?
I got a 13.
13. Okay, that's what I heard. Everyone's looking around. You guys are all perplexed with this skull just when it vanished out of thin air after saying no touchy touchy. And then Cyrus, you look back where it was, it's not there, but then your eyes go up a little bit and you see that one of the jagged rocks that kind of defines the path here and defines the split in the road, it's just perched on top of one of those and it's staring down at you. And as soon as you make eye contact, it looks down at you and goes,
I'm very sorry that my friends wanted to pick you up. Beautiful skeleton. Would you kindly show us the way to Mirage Market so that we may be out of your hair, figuratively?
Just to be clear, I wanted to smack it with a really big stick. I didn't want to pick it up.
I think we were all clear on that, Samson. Thank you.
It ignores your request and does nothing.
When
it's not when it's not responding to you guys, it's just acting as it was when you came upon it that I described. So smoke coming out of the eyes and that mouth breathing.
Excuse me, Master Skull. I believe you should be well aware by now that you essentially have two choices. We can break your bones into bits and take your tongue, or we can carry you with us.
Guys, we could just leave.
Perhaps with an opportunity to discuss the finer points of virtue.
He looks at you, this disembodied skull, and says, "Ha! Try your best, adventurer."
Samson, can I give you a hand with anything?
Yeah, just keep Cyrus out of my way while I try to bonk it again.
Guys, no.
Yeah, will do. And I block Cyrus's path, like the narrow path.
Where it is, Samson, it's just out of melee reach, but you can definitely throw hand axes or something like that at it, and you're well within range for it, but it's just ever so slightly out of reach on the top of this rock.
Okay, sure, I'll try to throw an axe at it.
Well, as Samson is about to throw this, I'm going to shout up to the skull.
Bonk at a distance.
Please don't. Just tell us what we want and we'll leave you alone.
Hell yeah,
I think you know what the skull does. Nice. As you're whipping up to throw this epic shot at the skull, it just looks at you and goes, "Re-roll that for me, please."
All right. 19. You let me know.
Nice. The skull does not distract you successfully, and you manage to land a hit on it. Can you please roll damage?
What's the damage for those things?
I want to be friends with this skull, though.
You should have thought about that before.
We invited it to be friends.
5.
We did try.
We gave it a chance.
5, you said?
5 slashing damage, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, your axe cleaves into it, and it continues to go off in a distance, but it does get a chunk of the top of the head off, so a big part of its cranium is gone. And it does not seem happy, but it's still around, and it goes, but less enthusiastically than it did before.
Didn't have to be this way, fart skull.
Guys, let's not be mean.
I
We can
hold
go
up
somewhere else.
I hold out my other hand axe and I go, "Are you not entertained?"
What's everyone else doing in this interaction? Do you guys also want to pop shots off at the skull, or are you on the I'm going to stay out of this and see how it plays out side of things? 'Cause we have...
Yeah, just chilling over here.
Okay.
Oh, after
Emily?
the first shot. Oh, sorry.
Oh, Emily, are you in or out of the fight?
I was gonna start composing a beautiful poem about the beauty of the skull to try to schmooze it into helping us.
Okay. Conrad, are you going to actively get in the way of someone trying to hit the skull?
Cyrus is going to start praying, praying to himself and to whatever God is supporting this skull's life, whatever God this skull may worship, and try and have that God intervene and save this skull.
Yeah, you go ahead and pray to the god. You're not sure which one would be responsible for this possessed skull thing, but you're just
I'll
gonna
pray to all of them, see what
Yeah.
happens.
just buckshot.
Yep.
And then Hati, you wanted to jump in.
Yeah, I wanted, and if you mentioned that it was out of melee range, but if you have a reach weapon, then would I be able to?
If you have an extra 5 feet of reach, you can hit it with melee.
Okay, in that case, I'm gonna hit it with my glaive.
Nice.
Nice.
I should have checked if Samson also had a glaive.
I don't.
No, okay.
Damn.
That's good then. Nice. What'd you get for
That-
your roll with the glaive?
That is a 6 to hit.
Yeah, you completely missed the skull trying to, jab at it with the glaive, and it's not moving. You're just having bad aim. And the skull is just looking at you and going,
God damn.
I'll get in on this. Once I see that
Us-
Cyrus isn't trying to intervene, I'm gonna take a quick rifle through the spell book to just like a quick 10-second refresher, and then throw a firebolt up there.
Nice. Yeah, get a firebolt on him. Roll a
Yeah.
hit.
All right, that's a 12.
Nice. It's as you're mustering up the words and the phrases to shoot off a firebolt, it just looks at you and says, "No." And re-roll that for me, please.
13.
Nice. Yeah, you ignore its request and hit it with a firebolt anyway. Upon doing so, give me a damage roll.
Sorry, I can't find my D10. 10.
Ooh.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, this thing just bursts into flames, and
Oh,
the skull
no.
cackles in pain as it burns away, and all that's left falling now from this rock kind of right at Cyrus's feet is this it's about like a softball sized ruby, and it has kind of this smoky blackness just emanating off of it, similar to what was coming out of the eye sockets and mouth of the skull.
Can I try to
And
catch
I
it
do
out of
believe
midair
that's
before
cursed, my friends.
it lands?
Oh, it just kind of tumbles down the side of the rock. It doesn't fly in like a parabolic shape.
But as
Whatever you
it's
do,
falling, so there's not enough room. for me to
Nobody
catch
eat it.
Oh yeah, roll a.
I know
roll
it's
a,
very tempting,
roll a
but
dex
don't
save.
eat it.
I know it's not wise, but gots to. Ooh, that is going to be a 6.
Yeah, you try and stumble over Cyrus, but he's a big boy and just kind of in your way. But yeah.
If
So
it
now there's
lands-
this. Yeah, it's
if
by
it
your
lands
feet.
in front of Cyrus, Cyrus is just going to take it as a sign that, well, at least I was meant to have this. So I'm gonna bend down and pick it up and whisper some more words, praying to myself and
Don't pray to
whatever
a
god I was
devil
praying to at the
skull.
time.
Who are you praying to, Cyrus? I'm just curious.
You know, there are so many gods out there. I figure it's probably wise to get on good terms with as many as I can before I become a god myself.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay, so now that is all done with, 2 questions the DM has for the party, and they're the same question twice, which is what do you do with regards to the path you choose, and what do you do with this ruby in front of your feet?
Oh, well, Cyrus has picked it up at this point.
Okay, add that to your inventory then. You have 1 softball size smoky ruby.
Oh boy.
Or softball size. That's a big boy.
You can put possessed skull next to it or something to remind us where it came from.
Shouldn't we investigate it or something to that
I feel like
effect?
we should.
I'll take a look at it. Just
I
inspect
feel
it.
like it should.
I'll
I
see if
feel
I
like
can get
those of us
any-
who contributed to destroying the skull should probably
I
hold on to it. You weren't very on board with the whole crushing the skull plan, if I remember correctly.
I still don't think it was the right thing to do, but if we can
Maybe
With
just
some
hand
good-
hand Jens the the crystal then.
I think we should protect what's left of this wonderful skull and see what good can come of this.
Cyrus, thank you. Even though I'm the youngest one here, I feel like you probably need to learn that this is not the material world anymore.
Maybe, but not everything's out to kill us.
Is it not?
Is it not? I mean, okay, they were those
we
guys.
encountered a couple of really nice people.
Yeah.
It's not everyone's a bad guy here.
I'm just saying, Jens is a magic man. Let him do some magic investigations on it. And also, he dealt the killing blow by honor. By honor, it should be his bounty.
Thank
Aren't
you,
we a
Samson. I
team,
appreciate
Samson?
that.
Samson, we're a team. We all gotta share our knowledge in between us. It's not just like, oh, Jens dealt the killing blow, so he gets to keep the cursed gem.
I'm just saying, Cyrus didn't even want to. He stopped my hand on my first strike.
Well, yeah, but I still don't think that. I'm happy to give it over to Jens, but I don't want any more, senseless violence. This doesn't help anybody, and we're here to help people.
I appreciate your character, Cyrus, but you holding on to that rock is not going to stop me from hitting people with this big stick. I'm sorry to tell you.
Also, just as I'll just mention we have
I'll
helped
just be frank.
people. We have helped people. I don't know if a skull is people, but
I'm more concerned that we destroyed the tongue. And so if the tongue was the key to something, the tongue is now incinerated. So if
That
the
is
tongue
true.
was someone's voice, now we don't have that anymore.
That is true.
Maybe part of the voice was with the ruby.
Cyrus is going to hand Jens the gem, but while he does so, he's going to say, things can always be destroyed, but they can't be put back together again.
I hope some of them can. And
I hope
then
so too.
I will, while anything else is happening, like while we're deciding where to go, I'll be turning the gem around, referencing any notes from the book that I got from the Imp Cave, casting my memory back, just generally trying to get a read on this thing.
Yeah, so basically investigating the gem, so looking for anything peculiar on it, something of note. You don't find anything other than the smoky aura that I described before. It is a cut gem, so it is kind of in that I'm trying to think of the name of the shape, but basically where it comes to a fine point, and then it's like some kind of polygon cut, polytope cut, I guess. You can imagine like the classic image of a diamond cut. That's sort of how it's shaped. And that's your investigation, nothing outside of that. As far as its magical aura and any sort of like cursedness or arcane sort of thing going on, you can tell there's some sort of magical essence to this gem. It came out of a talking skull that had a tongue. So you can't say anything definitively about it. Like, you don't know the school of magic, you don't know what the effect of this item is, you don't know anything of that. You just know that it's probably some magical item. But your investigation doesn't reveal too much more than that.
Okay. I'll once we start walking again, I'll rotate it through Orpheus and Vero just to see if their style of magic can get any better read on it.
Okay. And just to confirm, your book you're referring to is your spell book, right?
Correct.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then everything I said is good.
Okay.
In terms of where we should go, I think
Left.
we should go back to where we saw the sign for Mirage Market, because we don't see signs for that anymore.
But like left.
But I thought you said right is always right.
No, that was the other guy said that.
Oh, right. Vero was saying right is always right.
Vero is extremely wise, though.
To be fair, we got a gem, but we got it through violence, so I'm not sure if that was the righteous most right. Yeah.
How are you feeling, Cyrus?
You know, I know that I didn't really help in the fight, but I'm feeling a little exhausted from that encounter.
That's very understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even throw you, Cyrus.
It's not a physical type of exhaustion, Samson. It's more of like my heart feels weak. I feel like I've just been defeated and let down.
I'm sorry you feel that way, friend. But recall that us 5 friends of yours here in this party of adventurers, we all need you to think about us too, remember? Not just you, it's not just talking skulls that you are here to support and befriend, but also us, your fellow adventurers too.
Of course. And I want to support you. I just, I didn't see any potential gain from this senseless violence.
That thing was
Like
pretty clearly evil, though.
you
It's just
can't
a talking
just
skull.
you can't just swing your club at everything that upsets you. That doesn't seem right.
Cyrus, you're thinking about all the arguments that are coming your way, and you're thinking about what you're saying in response to, and it dawns on you that maybe a talking undead skull isn't the thing you're supposed to help, and maybe there is a line between good people and bad people, and it's your job to determine who is actually well-intentioned and who has nefarious intentions. And one of the things you think is, if I had to give a textbook example of what evil looks like, talking skull might be the picture you use. But that's just something coming from the DM. So, take it with a grain of salt.
Cyrus may have Cyrus just does some internal thinking for a little bit, and I understand that some creatures can't be redeemed. So I will endeavor to support you all in your efforts when you identify something that you think has reached that level of wickedness that it can no longer be turned good.
Thank you, Cyrus. Also, you said nothing came of that violence, but look, now we have this sweet, delicious-looking rock.
I consider that more of a chance. I don't know about you, but I didn't think that we were going to get a giant ruby from the skull. But hey, if
Maybe it's an
you,
egg. Let's crack it open. Let's see what's inside.
what are we trying to accomplish here? Are you hungry? Did you want breakfast?
I haven't eaten in days. Yes, I'm starving.
You know what? Fair enough. I am kind of hungry too, but I feel like a
Side
ruby is
note, you
not
guys don't feel hunger right now. Just like, because the
I don't
undead thing.
understand the
Psychologically.
concept of these muscles need energy. I don't understand the concept of not feeling hunger. I'm
Psychologically,
hungry
I need
all
to
the
put
time.
something in my mouth and chew something and eat it.
You might feel like you want to eat. That might be something your character has, and I'll let you guys decide that for yourselves. But mechanically, you don't need the food right now because of your undead nature.
Okay.
But
True.
yeah, anyway. Sorry,
Good.
this is some prime RPing, so I'm sorry if I'm interrupting.
So guys, left,
It's back.
left.
Crack the
Try
ruby open.
left.
Hati, you keep saying these things, and I'm curious where you're getting this seemingly divine inspiration from.
Yes, I was also wondering about your seemingly divine inspiration. What exactly are you getting these ideas?
I was just told that, sometimes you just have that feeling in your gut and you just know. And I think left is the way to go.
I have never heard that in my life.
Cyrus is going to put a
Must be a
hand on
Feywild
Hati's
thing.
stomach and try and feel his gut.
You have a moment of panic because you don't feel anything. You just feel your outside stomach, but you do not feel your guts.
Hati, why does it feel like you don't have internal organs?
Wait, do I feel that?
Oh, you put your hand there and you just feel a belly. You don't feel like anything moving. You don't feel like a tummy grumbling or anything like that.
What?
Oh wow. Huh.
What?
That's weird.
Is nothing speaking to you? Like I don't feel anything. Like what do you feel?
I mean, it's actually, now that I think of it, it feels very different than usual, but I can still feel that little thing that tells me left.
Hmm. Okay, but can we not? Can we just
Fine.
not? That's it. Can we just not?
Fine.
You know,
If we
I'm
want to
all
go
for
back,
I'm all for trusting instincts. I'm just, if you're the only one having instincts, why aren't we? Do you know this place? Have you been here before?
You have
I
not
don't
been here
think so.
before.
Nope. First time.
Okay.
I've always had good instincts.
You know what? I'm happy if everyone is okay with trusting Hati getting us through this maze of paths. I can do that. You're the one who's leaving us a
Oh.
trail, so we can always turn around and head back.
Yeah.
You're going left.
Orpheus, is that all right with you?
Fine.
Okay.
Left.
If you're all gonna just decide on a whim which way to go, I guess we'll just all go die together. It's fine.
Why do you think we
What?
die?
Where are we going?
We're going to die.
Oh, to die, absolutely.
Well,
Yeah.
if I'm going to die again, I'd rather it be with you guys.
Oh, Samson,
Oh.
that's so nice.
So poetic.
But we won't die. It's fine.
You're right. Once again, the noblest thing is a common action. It's giving me a lot to think about.
So you guys head left.
Yes.
And as you do, Swap, do you want to continue to drop ball bearings?
I do.
Okay. You go for another hour, and eventually you come to another fork in the road, except this fork's a little odd. It goes a sharp, let's see, you went right, then left. So it goes a sharp left and goes into a much wider path, looking very similar to the path that you were first on. And then there's another one that does kind of a soft right, and it continues in this deer trail fashion. There is no sign and no skull at this fork. Or sorry, there is a sign, but Emily, it's again in Infernal, and it looks very similar to the first two signs, except this one just has two arrows, and then the word above it says Mirage Market.
Back to Mirage
See,
Market.
told you. We're going the right way.
I never doubted you for a second, Hati.
Exactly. So right now.
No, we take the bigger path.
Cyrus's mom friend for sure. It's great.
Fruit mom energy.
You know, someone's got to take care of my little guys while you guys are all saving the world.
Mom, you never let me bonk things.
It's because bonking things is not always the best course of action. You've got to learn how to resolve things without bonking.
Speaking of resolving things
I
without
don't wanna.
bonking, you guys see off in the, or rather you hear off in the distance behind you, the sound of a carriage slowly moving on the path. And you look behind, and indeed you see a horse-drawn carriage coming from behind you. This thing looks pretty big, like maybe it's the size of a small bus, the carriage part of it, and it's being led by two horses, which as they get closer, you realize are skeleton horses.
Have
All right,
they
everyone.
seen us yet?
Yes, you guys are in the middle of a path with nothing to hide behind, really, except veering off onto the side path you guys just exited from.
I grab Orpheus and Vero by like the backs of their shirts and pull them behind, like Samson and Hati and Cyrus.
Nice.
Let's all take a step back. Let this carriage pass.
So you guys are just hiding behind the brutes of the party, and you guys wait moments, and the horse drawn carriage comes. You see that the horses are indeed skeletons, and sitting in the front is a man wearing a black cloak, just a generic like felt black, looks very tattered. And this gentleman is interesting because he is also a skeleton, and he has a corncob pipe in his mouth, and he's just kind of got his feet up, and you can see his little skeleton toes, and he looks over at the three brutes of the party and says, "Good day to you, gentlemen," as he removes
And
his
to
pipe
you.
from his mouth and grins at you with his teeth.
And to you, sir.
Howdy.
Good day.
I like tip my bald head to him.
He continues to
Trust
says,
him completely.
"Now, if I'm not mistaken, you look like you folks could use a ride."
I glance around at my party. No, I think we're okay.
Is this the way
Well,
to Mirage Market?
Indeed, this is the way. So is that way, and that way, and that way. And he points off in a bunch of different directions. All paths lead to Mirage Market.
I'm gonna like
What?
pop out from around the tall people and be like, "Can you explain that?"
I just did.
But like, how?
Paths. They go places. These ones go to Mirage Market. That one goes to there. That one goes to there. That way. He continues on that place, and he says, "But they'll all take you there. Mirage Market's a big place. You can't miss it unless you
Which
don't
one's the
take the paths.
fastest?
The main path." And he kind of gestures to the path he's on. "This will take you right to the heart of the market."
Is he telling the truth?
Why don't we find out, Emily, if he is telling the truth?
Because we're so wise and we can know that.
Just going to your sheet here to see the result of your insight check.
Oh boy.
Okay.
It's only like -5 or maybe -4. Like it'll be
You-
fine.
You do think he's telling the truth. You have seen now three signs that show you this information. And unless he is also gaslighting you along with these signs, then it's probably correct. Also, what does he get out of it lying to you? That's kind of what you think about his intentions.
How much for a ride?
Oh, for you fine looking folk, fine looking fleshy folk, I just want a little bit of your skin. Just a little bit. And he kind of unveils his cloak. It buttons up at the center, and he shows you that he's got like these little square patches of skin from various creatures, and he says, "I collect skin. I don't want that much, just a little bit."
I
And he
pull out
takes
my
his
club.
bony fingers and just does this. You pull out your what? Sorry.
My club.
Okay.
You know, that's a very tempting offer as I like try to step a little in front of Samson again. But I feel like that we're okay walking. Thank you.
What do you
Yeah.
do with it?
I collect it. I look
Oh,
at it. I touch it.
You don't do anything with it, you just collect it?
Yeah, keep it right here next to my chest. Pretend like it's my skin.
Hmm.
That makes sense. In a really depressing way.
He just
I'm just
misses
gonna
skin.
like turn to everyone and speak really quietly and be like, "This guy's real fucking weird, but I don't think he's gonna hurt us."
So we should get a
What's-
ride with him?
I mean, if you want to
I'm
give up the
I'm okay
skin,
walking.
I think walking is fine.
But there's nothing wrong with walking.
Yeah.
I just quietly to everyone, I just want to chat with him for a second, see if we can find anything else out about this place.
Sure,
Yeah, I think
go
that's a
ahead.
good idea.
What's your
that
name?
sounds okay.
What's your name, my friend?
My name? Oh, it's not important. My name is something I forgot a long time ago.
That makes sense. How did you come to be a merchant, traveler to Mirage Market?
Traveler is more correct term for me. I bring people such as yourselves on relatively safe passage from Chaos Cove over here to Mirage Market. I've been doing this since I don't even remember, long after I lost my own flesh. Now, I just do it to collect the flesh. As I said, I like having it near me. I like looking at it. I like touching it.
Sorry.
Did
Okay.
you? And our own memories are foggy, so I don't mean any offense by this or to cause you any stress. Do you remember how you came to be here?
I don't remember much. I remember what happened when I got here. I got stabbed, and then I got burned, and then I got poisoned, and then I got stabbed again, and again. And eventually, well, I woke up and I had no flesh. I was just all bone. But I still had my pipe. And the only thing I remember from my life is that I like my pipe.
So only 3 things happened to you? Just stabbed, burned, poisoned?
That's what I remember. I was knocked out. Was hit with a club. Was hit with a sword. Hit with an arrow. It was many different things. Also experienced some frigid
Gotcha.
cold at one point from some sort of ice beast. You would think they would ever encounter an ice beast next to a lava lake. That's just ridiculous. But it happened.
That is ridiculous.
And it happened
Is
to
that
me.
that's that kind of ridiculousness I would expect from insanity-inducing underworld of hell.
Oh, I haven't gone insane yet. As long as I can still have my flesh. And you see him like break eye contact with you and just like open up his cloak and just look at it and then just pet one square very softly. As he
Yeah.
claims to have not lost his sanity.
Yeah, good thing you're still sane. Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He's
Well,
still like
maybe we'll see you around.
Yeah, let's just give you some. You know,
Wait.
you need some
I have
time
more
yourself.
questions about the flesh. I have more questions about the flesh.
I
Oh,
don't think
my
we need to
apologies.
know.
Fire away.
Do people always give you the flesh, or do you take it from bodies as well?
well, I haven't really encountered a body with flesh on in a long time that wasn't still alive to some degree, more or less speaking. Usually the flesh I get, and by usually I mean all of it, is flesh from folk that want to travel. Usually from Chaos Cove here to Mirage Market. I get them to cut it off willingly, and they give it to me. I pin it right here. And then they get in my carriage and we go on our way. I'm currently giving passage to about 25 or so travelers, all of which who have paid willingly and given me some of their flesh.
How many bits of flesh do you think you've collected over the years?
Oh, I'd have to count, but eventually the flesh withers up and it's not as crisp. And by crisp, I mean lushy and juicy. Sorry, luscious and juicy is what he meant to say. And then he goes on. I'm not gonna go through it because I don't want to do it. But he describes how much he likes fresh flesh, and then eventually the freshness fades over time, and he has to discard this flesh, sadly. And then I go get new flesh. So I usually in my cloak I have somewhere between 30 to 100 pieces of flesh. Depends how many travelers need passage and how frequently.
Cool. Okay.
Thanks for
I
that
just have to.
estimate, Orpheus. That was great.
He continues to Orpheus and says, I just have to say, your flesh is some of the nicest flesh I've seen in a while. I don't get
Mine
too many people.
specifically?
Yours specifically. I
Ugh.
think I would really enjoy having some of your flesh in my collection. But if you do not want to pay me, I understand, and I will respect it.
You know, my flesh is so nice that I want to keep all of it, you understand?
Oh, I understand. If it was my flesh, I would not part with 1 cent, one square inch of it.
That's I'm like blushing a little bit. I'm like, oh, that's so flattering. Thank you.
Well, on that note,
On that note, shall we?
thank
Yeah.
you very much for chatting with us there, Mr. Sir. Please don't let us hold you up, and good luck escorting these people to their destination.
Good luck on your fleshy journey.
Vero's gonna whisper to the people within earshot. I nearly lost my skin on many occasions, but I done never given my skin willingly to no bone man riding no bone horse with a bone carriage. That is something I ain't never gonna do.
As you guys part ways with him, he tips his hat to you, puts his pipe back in his mouth, and gets his horses moving. As his carriage moves away, you can kind of see under the canvas tent of it into it and see some of the passengers. There's quite a crowd there that are all just sitting to themselves. Some of them are talking to others, some of them aren't. But Hati, Barrow, and Samson notice in the back that there's a couple of humanoids that look similar to your friend Vero. And Vero, you recognize some of these what is it? Fearbolg? Is that how I say it?
Yeah, Fearbolt.
Yeah. You recognize some of these Fearbolg as people that were originally slaughtered in your tribe way back when. And they're on the passage sitting together. They don't seem to see you, but you see them off in the distance as they're making their way there.
Well, I wonder if we all just made a mighty grave mistake here, friends. I seem to spot a few Fearbolg whom I once knew from a kinder, gentler time, years long past. I should very much like to go see them again. We best follow this fellow as fast as we can.
Yeah, I mean, if we're all heading to Mirage Market, then I'm sure we'll see them there. We can keep an eye out for them.
We didn't even ask that guy about that flesh bag that we found. He probably would have found that pretty interesting.
You're so right.
Oh, that's a good point.
Pharaoh, do you want to run and catch up right now?
Well, I figure we just better follow as quickly as we can. I'm still not keen on sharing my skin with that fellow. But
Fair enough.
be nice to
Alright.
see
Okay.
where he's going with all those fine folk and those fine Fearbolgs that I used to know.
What happened to them, Vero?
Oh, well, that's a long tale. We were a gentle folk, keeping much to ourselves, but many of us were killed by our cousins, the hill giants, who settled in and wanted to take what we had for themselves. But we dealt with them the only way we knew how, and that's that. Many of our folks lost their lives at that time, and many of us didn't, and found a new path in our lives, and that's it.
That's a very unfortunate tale, but thank you for sharing.
Oh, you're welcome. As long as we can walk and talk, I'm okay. And I'm assuming we are walking and talking.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I assume that as well. Otherwise, you guys would not be able to catch up to this horse-drawn carriage. But if you guys are walking and talking, and hustling, you guys eventually do catch back up to it if you want to try and flag him down.
Oh, I don't want to flag him down. I just want to follow him.
Oh, you guys just want to follow from a distance. Okay, yeah, you do that. Hati, are you gonna continue to drop ball bearings?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So you guys travel for another what feels like several hours, and Hati, you're starting to get low on ball bearings, and you guys do pass one or two more of these signs that do say the similar thing that you've seen in the past, but I'm assuming you stay on the straight and narrow because you're following this carriage now.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
As long as there's no more, talking skulls.
No. There's the only thing of interest is the signs. But I think you guys more or less have an idea what's going on there now. Or maybe not, I'm not sure.
Just keep
Yeah.
going. We got somewhere to go.
You guys have obviously been trapped in some sort of dream-like state where this is all just happening in your heads, right? That's what everyone figured out now. Okay, cool, good. I'm
Yeah,
glad we're all on the
yes,
same
totally.
page.
Yeah.
Mhm, mhm.
Of course.
It's almost like
yeah.
we're playing pretend and just imagining these whole sequence of events, and these characters aren't really ourselves.
Yeah.
Strange.
What are you talking
Very
about?
strange thought.
I don't know. Sorry. Weird thought.
As you guys continue on for another couple hours, Hati, you're running pretty low on ball bearings. You probably have just a handful left in the bag. Do you want to keep
I'll-
dropping ball bearings?
I'll just get rid of as many as I can. I'm like, okay, guys, I guess we'll have to find our way from this point onwards.
Okay.
As Hati says that, you guys come to. It's been pretty flat on the main road. On the off trails, there was a little bit of like ups and downs, hills and valleys. That was just getting around some of the rock. But now it seems that the landscape has changed quite a bit and now is dramatically seeping down. And you look off in the horizon, you can kind of see you're approaching this large crater. So off in the distance, like several miles away, you can see a spot similar where it's kind of curving down into this crater. And looking in the crater, you see this huge sort of city. And I'm going to use the word city lightly. It is all sort of natural forming rock structures, but you can clearly tell that beings reside here, as there is carvings into the rock that make it seem like they're now some sort of dwellings for the creatures here. And there is clear-cut paths between the rocks. And it's not like city blocks, where there's nice crisp corners. It's more like weaving and winding around the natural forming structures here. But yeah, you see the carriage just kind of go over this cliffside, and if you were in the material plane, you would assume going over this cliffside would mean that the carriage would now fall, as it's pretty much a 90-degree turn. But as you guys go up and approach the lip, you see that nope, it's just naturally going down the side of this cliff, like gravity changes for it for some reason. But there's all sorts of weird things here. So what's another one?
So is the entire crater the city, or is it like just farther
More or less.
away? Okay.
More or less. Once you get down into there, you're pretty much into the city. Like there might be a little bit of a boundary depending on what side you approach from, but
I was
no.
just wondering how, like, if it covers the entire thing, pretty much.
Yeah,
Okay.
it covers the entire thing. It's fairly big.
Nice.
You'd say at
Okay.
least 2 to 3 miles in diameter.
All right.
Follow the
Well,
cart.
yep.
Yeah.
Just, step on the side of a crater and walk down vertically.
Yep.
Something I have done before.
Really?
No, I've seen other people do it before. I haven't done it myself. I'm sorry, I don't know why I said that. That was very inappropriate of me to say. I shouldn't lie like that.
Unless
Lying
there are
You're a little bit
gods
too
who
hard
love
on
lying,
yourself.
and then you can lie your way into heaven.
That just doesn't feel right with me.
Well, friends, I have something to share with you all. I am nervous to see my kin again. I'm not exactly welcome back at the settlement where I was once from. My kin don't take too kindly to violence, especially violence perpetrated by a Fearbolg such as myself. Upon repelling my cousins, the hill giants, I was happy to have saved my town, but I was no longer welcome back in it. I'm not sure if I meet my kin, if they recognize me, if they will recognize me as their own fellow Fearbolg, or if they will recognize me as a dastardly vandal or some horrible, horrible creature to be scorned and feared. I might well keep my distance and just observe quietly to confirm for myself that they're doing okay.
I totally understand, but if it's any consolation, you may not have been welcome back in your town, but we're not in your town anymore. So maybe they'll welcome you in this strange new land.
Could be.
But we won't know
I
anything
just
standing
have
here.
to point out, Vero, I'm so sorry that that's the what your kin feel. Interesting, slightly hilarious that one of us was cursed by their people for perpetuating violence. The other was cursed by their people for not perpetuating violence successfully enough.
Yep.
It's a
Life does have a funny sort of irony to it, doesn't it?
strange paths that we walk.
Hmm.
Everyone has their own version of right and wrong. It's very, very interesting.
As you guys walk down the side of this cliff, effectively, you can see, as you've left a little bit of a distance between you and the cart, because you guys have to jog to keep up with the cart, so you probably slowed down a little bit now, and you can see that while you're still on the cliff, well, first off, you guys are feeling pretty tired. Not exhausted with the capital E, but with a lowercase e. And
Been a
you
big
see
day.
the cart kind of pull off to the side, and then the skeleton man comes out and pulls down a ladder for all his passengers to venture off of the carriage. They all make their way off and kind of disperse into the city, and he puts the ladder back up, and then he takes his carriage and then starts coming up back immediately the same way he came. He's going to pass you guys on the middle of the cliff. Nice. I got a thumbs up from my computer.
For yourself. You gave yourself
Yeah.
a thumbs up. Love that.
Yeah.
Nice.
That was fun. I gotta figure out how to turn that off. Anyway, so as you guys are coming down to the base of the cliff, he's coming back, and he sees you again. And as he sees you, he gives you a very wide, with a lot of teeth kind of grin, and clasping his corncob pipe between them, holding it, and then tipping his head to you, but not his hat this time. So just kind of like
I'm gonna
do you
wave.
guys? Okay.
I give him a little head tip.
Okay. Nice.
Same here.
And
Just
yeah, if you guys don't stop him to talk to him, he doesn't stop to talk to you and keeps going. And yeah, you guys in a few more minutes get back down to the entrance of this massive city. What do you do?
Shall we walk right in, guys?
I guess so. We weren't really told to do anything in the city in particular.
I mean, something about sages and I don't know. We'll see what's there.
Eh,
I think if I recall correctly, the NPCs told you that you needed to come here to find the other sages. So it was very
Yeah.
vague,
Yes.
but that was like the general thing, yeah.
Well, we'll find sages.
What kind of
Yeah.
people are around?
So you're seeing a mix of folk. You're seeing a lot of people who look sort of like yourselves in a way, people who look like they used to be humanoids, but now are dead. So not full on zombies, but kind of looking how I described to you guys, a little bit lifeless, a little bit pale in the skin, walking around. But you also see a dispersed number of skeletons. So it like the way they're just kind of walking around and interacting, it reminds you of the traveler you just met that was carrying all the people on a carriage. But those are the sorts of demographics you're seeing. A variety of humanoids of all the different races that D&D has to offer in proportional amounts to their representation in the material plane, I guess. And then skeletons. And you can't discern between a half-orc skeleton and a half-elf skeleton, really. So they all kind of just look the same at various heights and sizes. But all the skeletons are walking around wearing some sort of clothing, kind of like the one you saw wearing some sort of cloak, robes, or even just traveler clothing.
Any others collecting skin?
From this distance, you can't tell what they collect under their robes.
Okay.
Maybe just dust on the bones.
Maybe just dust on the bones. Yeah, other than that, you kind of see these massive columns of stone that some of them go up to the ceiling, some of them don't. And inside, you can see that there are like these crude doorway and window carvings in them. But really, from the outside, you can't tell too much. Also, it seems that everything that would be a sign to tell you where to go or what a place is seems to be written in Infernal.
Hey.
Good thing we've got a translator here.
Good thing you got a translator here.
Well, should we just, wander around, guys, and maybe we'll run into Vero's townsfolk, or we'll happen to hear about some sages who are looking for some ears or a tongue.
Did anybody clock where the carriage went to? We could start with that before they get too dispersed.
Like where it dropped people off?
Yeah, yeah.
You guys are kind of at the spot where it dropped off. They dispersed pretty fast after, because he had quite a few minutes of a lead on you guys, like maybe about 15 minutes of a lead. So they had enough time to all get off, disperse out. But they kind of, so the way I'm picturing this, and I know we don't have a map and we've been doing like theater of the mind sort of stuff. So picture you've come down and there's two large rock structures here. There's a wide path that goes in, and then you could go around the rock structures if you want, but you can't see the path on either side. So there's a clear path forward, but you could walk around the perimeter and find more points of entry. But everyone that left the carriage did go through that main path, it seems.
We'll just
Well,
stick to
let's
that.
head on in then.
Yeah, that's the start.
All right,
Yeah.
you guys walk in for a little bit and soon see what I described to Riley a second ago, which was the thick of this place. There seem to be people just kind of milling about. Some are sitting in the road in circles, seeming to be talking or doing something. Others are walking between places, and it's a mix of humanoids and skeletons. You see several buildings that people seem to be frequenting in and out of, and you also see off in the distance some sort of outdoor gathering. It's not like a lecture or an amphitheater sort of setup. It's more like a whole bunch of different people talking and little small crowds of listening. So if you think back to like Monty Python's Life of Brian, when they have all the false prophets talking and they're kind of in the square listening to different people on their soapboxes, you see quite a number of these off in the distance, like an unhealthy amount of people on soapboxes.
What sorts of things are they saying?
You cannot hear from the distance that you're at right now, especially with the ambient noise of the city. It kind of drowns out anything, and it all just sounds like white noise.
Oh, we should
Cyrus
go
wants
find
to
out what
go
those
in and listen.
folks saying.
Or is it doomsayers? Is it religion? Is it I want to know what they're saying.
Okay. So you guys all want to go over to the preachers?
I want
Not
to
like-
listen to at least 3 of them for a full 10 minutes each, Joe.
Very specific.
Well, it's a good thing
I want to hang on their every word.
Hang on, I just have to reach behind me and pull something just out of my ass here really quick. Okay, perfect. We're good. I got it. Yeah, we're ready. So you guys walk up slowly, taking your time. And as you're walking up to this area, but before you get there, you are approached by a group of 3 skeleton figures, and they all kind of go towards the tiefling in your party, and they come up to you very politely, almost like timid children who want to ask an adult if they can pet the dog, but they say, "Can we touch your skin?"
Why?
It's and one with like a cartoon sparkling eyes just says, "It's magnificent."
Oh, well, I mean, of course. And I sort of like reach down a hand.
They all take out one bony finger and then just kind of drag it along your skin in one solid straight line. And they give
Cyrus
out
is going to be sorry.
No, please interrupt what I was about to say, because it was not going to be good.
I was just going to say Cyrus is going to be like standing behind Orpheus, just like watching these guys, making sure that no funny business is happening. And just like
so stressed right now.
Just like make sure like they aren't trying to like sneak a piece of skin or anything. Just looking
That's
out
fair.
for my fellow.
Yeah, you have a look at them, and yeah, it doesn't seem like they're trying to sneak a peek. They're just doing one methodical straight stroke down of the skin as they all go,
I go up to Orpheus and I say, Orpheus, see, I told you your skin was of the highest quality. Recall when we talked about making bags.
One of the skeleton pipes up and says, "Oh yes, your skin would make an excellent bag."
I thought so too, but I'm not offering, unfortunately.
They all just get like the biggest like childlike disappointment sigh of, "Aww."
Maybe
what-
maybe one day. Maybe one day.
What do you do with those bags of skin?
They look perplexed at you because they never said bags of skin. They just said that Orpheus's skin would make a good bag. And they say, "We don't have bags of skin. We don't have any skin of our own." And they show you their, I don't know what any bones are called, but they show you the bone that goes in the forearm.
Radius and ulna.
There you go. Classic
Okay.
DM being an idiot. Yeah, so they just gesture they don't have skin. "But if we did, we would love to have purple soft skin like this."
I try to startle them away like a pack of small dogs, just like, hey, get out of here.
They scurry off like children who've just been scared away by an adult.
Perfect.
And you guys continue on to the market. And I just threw that in there for fun, not because I was trying to come up with something for these people to say
Of
in
course.
the meantime.
Of course not.
So you guys get up there, and would you go to the person with the biggest crowd first, or the person closest to you that has a reasonably sized crowd for the people in your approximate area? Because it's
I
quite
would
a
go
large
to the.
gathering.
I would go to like the closest two.
Yeah.
Closest to? Okay.
Mhm.
So you guys get to the first one, which is just on the outskirts. And this guy he's hunched over. He looks, you're not quite sure, but he's wearing a lot of clothing and a heavy hood, but you can see his face and it's all cut up. So you're wondering if this guy has taken quite a bit of slashing to the face with a sword of some kind and maybe not been properly treated. But he just kind of says in a creepy voice, "Yes, if you all pray to the most evil gods, you will find yourself in the most beautiful forms like I have found myself. It is great to feel the impurity of skin and the aberrations that you get from cutting and leaving these treacherous marks. It's what the gods want. It's what the most pure and evil gods demand. Yes, if you engage in such behavior, you will become pure in the most abhorrent form you can find yourselves in. This will please them and bring endless happiness to the gods. And you should do the same to others. Cut them, make them mutilated beings, make them unrepresented, or make them look like a completely different representation of themselves from before. They should be mutilated and it'll be beautiful." And he just kind of goes on. He's kind of talking in circles. You don't think this guy really has a point other than he wants to see people cut up and destroyed. Maybe that's what his god's all about, but he has about 5 people around him. And you don't know if you want to be around this crowd considering the kind of things he's preaching. You notice the other people in the crowd also seem like they have had their faces slashed up a little bit and are wearing too much clothing to actually show you what their whole essence is about. But you get the sense this is the people who are into some weird masochistic god that wants to see pain and suffering caused onto people. Would you like to move on to the next god, or shall I go
I
on
say
for
behold.
9.5 minutes?
New
Holiness.
Joe, does this
So
give
sorry-
sort of like hellish vibes?
Yes, this is giving hell and torture kind of vibes, like the highest good for this person is the pain and suffering of others, because to them it's what beauty would look like for their god. So you're not sure if it's hell vibes, but it's some kind of like it must be some kind of devilish sort of religion. Your tiefling senses are tingling on this one.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
You move on to the next person, and this person's got a very different tone. They also are not wearing they're not as heavily clothed as the other person. They have just regular traveler's clothes on. They don't look like they've been cut up a whole bunch. But this person's just like, "And lo, if you wait in this plane and make as little impact as possible, just enjoy your time here. The gods will reward you with your patience. Yes, Patience will bring you the highest reward imaginable. And if you ask how long I must wait, well, you will be waiting longer, for we do not ask how long. We only ask nothing. We are perfectly fine waiting and not asking questions. For asking questions is what got my friends hurt. And that is why they died at the hands of the lava beast in the West Lake. Yes, this lava beast is horrible, much like many beasts of nature in this realm and other realms. That is why we must do nothing. Adventuring is wrong. Acting is wrong. Sitting is right. And then he takes a seat. And he says, yes, my followers, act as I do, and not as he doesn't do anything.
Hey,
And
just
you can listen
curious.
to...
Cool.
Just
Yeah, sorry?
curious. People telling us these things. Do you know anything about any, like, hypothetical, say if we ran into like a talking skull type situation, had a ruby inside of it, would that be anything that you know anything about?
You ask this guy, and he says, when in doubt, do nothing. And he says this with his eyes closed as he is in a seated meditative state. You have a feeling that this guy's answer to everything is don't do anything and good things will happen.
I can see how that would be
Yeah.
appealing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, it could work in this type of area.
This one does have quite a bigger following. There's about 40-ish people that are watching, and you'd say about 30 of them are sitting with him right now. So the people he has following him are pretty devout to not doing anything.
So
Very
laziness
impressive.
is more popular than
That's
You know,
good.
Noted,
That's
noted,
good.
noted.
I would say
Gotcha.
that's a good step. Step up.
It's exactly.
Would you guys like to listen to more preachers?
Absolutely. One more.
One more.
Okay,
more,
one
one
more.
more.
But I think we need to see which one was the most popular one.
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
you guys want to go to
those
the
The
most
two
popular?
nearest to us.
Yes.
We should go
Yeah.
see what the crowd is up to.
Yeah.
That's probably a good idea to know what the most popular mode of thought is in the town. You go up and you see that the most popular preacher is they're adorned in something that looks a little bit more holy, a little bit more official. And this is just a from the distance it looks like a human, but it could be a half elf or maybe a halfling, but he's on a soapbox, so you're not really noticing that. But he's on a really big stage, so it's not just like a single box like some of these guys. Like he's actually on a proper stage, and he's got several hundred people around him, maybe close to 1,000. You're not sure. And you guys kind of get to the outskirts of his talk because he can't quite get up to the crowd without barging and making a big scene. But do you guys want to barge and make a big scene? I don't want to assume that you're polite.
No, I'm happy being on the outskirts for now.
Okay. So on the outskirts, you hear a faint voice say, and lo, the god will clearly weigh and decide the fate of your soul fairly and earnestly. Rushing this process is a sin, but doing nothing is also a sin. You must act of your own accord and act in alignment with your true beliefs. You can tell that this guy sounds like he's pandering a little bit, like maybe he's a little bit of a politician, not so much a religious ideologue, as he starts listing off a couple contradictory points. When you see an evildoer trying to steal from a helpless, meager individual, you should do your best to fight against them and stop this act of theft. But at the same time, when you see someone fighting back, you should fight back against the person fighting back, as taking up arms against someone is cause to take arms up against that person. And on a third hand, and then he goes off to make some third contradictory point to this. If you see someone trying to harm someone, you should harm both of them, as you do not know who is in the right or who is in the wrong. So it's important to make sure that everyone is harmed and no one's left out.
I would like to raise my hand and like sort of blow a note on my horn
Yeah. Okay.
and just sort of yell up to this guy. Nothing you're saying is making any sense.
He hears this because you go, "Er," and that makes a huge distraction in the crowd and it goes silent. And he hears your first cry and he says, "And when approached by an interrupter, you should shun them and hit them with sticks." And I would like everyone in the party to roll initiative.
Can
You guys on the
As-
outskirts,
as a
you can get
1,000
away with this,
people?
really.
as a
You on the
reaction to
outskirts.
this, can I shout, "Samson, quick, throw her to safety"?
Yes. Now everyone roll initiative.
Nice.
That's 18 for me.
Nice.
14.
Nice.
2.
That is 15.
Okay.
All right, putting it in the chat.
Yeah. I would like to take this opportunity to remind people that the object of combat encounters is not always kill all enemies. Okay, with that being said, let's go to the top of the initiative.
Guys,
Wait, what
in a
do you
city.
mean? You don't think our level 0 characters can fight a crowd of maybe 1,000?
I didn't say you
That's
can't.
not-
In fact, I'd
that's
love
not
to
the
see you
kind of-
try.
That's not the kind of D&D I signed up to play.
I mean, how
I
many
know,
types
right?
of damage can they really do to us?
That is also
They
true.
just have sticks. Come on.
It's gonna be a
So,
lot of bludgeoning damage.
and piercing.
They're gonna take our skin though.
That being said, Cyrus does not condone this.
Barrow, it is your turn first. No one has done anything except 5 people that were standing in front of you have turned around. You notice 2 of them are holding sticks. The others don't have anything. They have indifferent looks on their faces. What do you do?
Well, obviously he's gonna speak to them. Well, friends, it seems that we have ourselves here a bit of a misunderstanding. And I think it's high time that my friends and I leave this part of town and leave you to your own business, like listening to this fine preacher man teach some mighty fine things.
Oh, that's great.
I love him.
So they listen to every word you said, and you can tell that they're actively listening because they give you a nod and they say, "You know what? That sounds good to us." They look at each other and they just turn right on around and yeah, don't engage with you guys. So thank you for rolling initiative and thank you, Riley, for organizing it in the chat. Really appreciate all of that. We're out of combat now.
Thank you, Vero, for saving all of us.
I
Because
pick up,
Clay rolled a nat
I
20.
pick up Orpheus and I go, which direction?
I'm just like, oh, Samson, are you gonna carry me? Thank you. My feet hurt so much.
I was gonna.
I'm
I'm just gonna sort of arrange myself so that I'm just being carried.
I just like kind of plop Orpheus on my shoulder.
Nice. Yeah, Emily, you get a good look at the crowd from up there.
Nice.
And you notice that most of the people in the crowd have their flesh still.
Interesting.
And from this height, you do notice that on the other side of this area where people are preaching, there appears to be more of a bony demographic. Not like it's completely segregated, like skeletons over here and fleshies over here. It's just there seems to be more. And over on this side where you guys started from, you see more humanoids standing up, whereas over there you see more skelenoids standing up. That's the term we're gonna go with now. Skelenoids.
Good.
Is there like a vibe of tension between the skelenoids and the humanoids?
Your vibe check reveals no tension.
Okay, cool.
Plus, like,
They're just-
you are been flattered every time they ask about your skin, so why would there be tension?
It's a good question.
You see that there are several people giving sermons over there as well.
Does it look like there's, I don't know, like an empty space for someone to stand up and start giving a sermon?
Oh boy.
Oh,
From Cyrus's position, he does not spot an empty podium.
Fair enough. Okay.
You do see a pile of crates behind you.
Hmm.
Let's
Something to keep in
go.
mind.
Let's go.
Oh, you guys want to get going? That's all right. Yeah, we can go. Um,
What,
this
what,
was
what were
fun
you
though.
thinking of?
You just look like you wanted to say something, so
Oh, well, I mean, if you guys don't want me to say anything, it's all right. I don't need to say anything. I'm
Yeah,
just,
I mean, what would you
Hey.
say?
it's
Cyrus, we
just
would love to hear what you have to say, especially in front of all of these idiots.
no, it's just, that sometimes everyone seems to be sharing their beliefs and, everyone is entitled to their own beliefs, sure, but I really feel like it's just so important to show empathy and to care and respect one another, Um, we should always be striving to, think of the other person. And Cyrus is going to take a few steps back towards the crates. I feel like it's always about showing kindness and, you know, you want to like violence should always be, a last resort. And every good deed really it sparks another, it keeps moving forward. And that sort of love and cherishing each other is what's most important. And Cyrus steps back even farther. What's most
While
important.
he's doing this, can I just like take out my horn and sort of start going like doo 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 and like start announcing and trying to usher people to come listen to Cyrus?
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Yeah. So as you guys do all this and Cyrus is starting to give his sermon, do you step onto a box? There,
I do
Conrad?
step onto a box. Yeah, I was stepping closer and closer to a
Just
box, and now I
slowly.
jump up on one.
Yeah. And Emily, with your coursing the crowd, you guys do get, about 10 or 15 people walking by and they're like, oh yeah, listening. Several people kind of walk by, listen for a little bit, and then frown at your message and kind of walk off like it's not for them. But you do hold on to about 10 or so people, 2 of which are skelenoids.
Okay. I'm not going to go into too much detail here.
Yeah, you
I'll
don't have to.
I'll hit all the highlights. But Cyrus is going to be going through the main tenets of the religion of Zarall. Talking about how important it is to stay pure, and purifying is a process that takes time and constant effort. And everyone begins good. And it's, it's this world, it's this place we're in that can sort of leach that goodness out of us, but we need to stay strong and we need to encourage each other to maintain this positivity within us. And if someone falters, if someone is wicked, it's not because they're bad, it's because they aren't given enough chances to be good. And that's the main messages that Cyrus gives.
Nice. So it's focusing on the tendency of purity in your religion then, this sermon.
Yeah, we're focusing on purity in this sermon.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to specify here.
Yep.
So you listen to this and you have captured the attention of some people. They're really hanging on your word, nodding along like they're in agreement with this idea, or this ideal. And 2 people kind of look at each other, get sort of a sad whimpering look, and then skirt off. But this is in the middle of your speech, so you would have to interrupt yourself to follow them.
I'm not stopping.
Yeah.
If my fellow party members wanted to follow, I wouldn't take
I'll
offense to them
follow.
leaving, but I would continue with my speech.
Does anyone else follow with Jens?
Jens is very curious.
I am
too.
completely enraptured watching Cyrus. I have like a tear in my eye.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I am very
So
curious.
Hati goes, and then Vero and Samson, are you guys hanging around for the sermon, or are you going off with Jens to follow the criers?
Well, I think Orpheus is still on my shoulder, so I'm staying at the sermon.
Nice.
Thanks,
And,
Samson.
Pharaoh's staying too.
Okay, sweet. So you 2 go off and you catch these individual. They're 2 half-elf folk, and both of these individuals are sobbing. You can see that one of them is missing a couple of fingers, and the other person is missing an eye. And they're just sobbing, kind of in the corner. What do you guys do when you approach crime people? I'm not asking in game. I'm just asking in general. What do you do when you approach crime people?
He really
You're
needs
here.
to know for
Yeah,
reasons.
Yeah, no particular reason. Just what do you do? Sorry, go ahead.
Cool.
Sorry for any interruption. Anything we can do to help? And do you want to talk about what that man said, that horrible man said to make you cry?
We have lost. They both start saying that they have lost their body's purity due to mutilations they couldn't control, and they will never be able to rise and ascend to a level of purity because their bodies have been deformed, and they fear they can never get to this high level of purity that they do desire but they can't attain from what they heard in the revelations of Zarall.
There's
Oh,
been a
that's
misunderstanding.
There's
That
been a
is-
misunderstanding of purity.
that is okay. Don't
Oh,
you
yeah.
worry about that at all. And I'm going to tell you why. 2 reasons. First one, through proper discipline, you can attain purity. There are magics, both arcane and divine, and I'm not even so sure there's a difference between those 2 things anymore, that can restore your fingers and restore your eye with something even greater. A golden eye that can see through walls, perhaps. It's attainable. Second reason is that purity, not the important part. The important part is that you find a leader of vision and drive that can hold everybody together behind one vision so everyone can achieve their victory. That's what you need, right?
You're not sure if your words are getting through to them. They're definitely impactful. And there's some people around that kind of like aren't listening. They're kind of listening to a sermon, but they're in earshot, and they kind of look over and just give you like a nod, like, yeah, that was a nice thing to say. But these people are clearly inconsolable right now, and maybe just need a minute. But you do get the validation of some strangers that heard you offhandedly.
Excellent.
Yes.
That's good.
Hati, would you like to try anything?
You know, I'm just kind of like, don't worry, don't take the words exactly the way what he meant. What he really meant is it's purity depending on the circumstance, you know. You can do the best that you can to become as pure as possible. And you don't have to, you just have to do your best.
They continue to cry and whimper a little bit, but you see another person, Hati, offhandedly. They also are out of earshot, or just in earshot, and they kind of look over and you're like, yeah, nice. A moment passes and they both lift their head up and they say, thank you for your kind words. This has really helped put things into perspective. I guess not all is lost for us, so thank you for consoling us in our time of need. And they continue to kind of like sulk a little bit in the corner, but you can tell they're feeling a little bit better because of the things you've said.
Just as an aside to Hati, well done.
Yeah, no, I was
Well
like,
said, well said.
well done to you too as well, you know.
Well, thank you,
We
thank
did
you.
our part.
Yeah.
Nice. As you guys walk back over to Cyrus, you do hear one person on a pedestal, and they're talking. They're you know, everyone's got their own way of preaching, but this guy's saying wood. It's all about wood. There's one thing I know. It is that wood is good. There is no wood here. We are in a bad place. There is no wood. It's bad. Wood, good. And this guy, for his simplicity of speech, has about 300 people listening.
I mean, he's not wrong.
Yeah, Vero is right on with this.
You guys
It's
are
like,
just within
okay.
earshot. You can hear it, just like, and you can hear Cyrus's. But as
Somebody gets it.
Wait, Vero, what are you doing over here? Grab, pull him back.
it's like, yeah,
Focus,
what is
buddy,
good?
focus.
As you guys come back to Cyrus's sermon, there is someone who's got sort of a not traveler's clothes on, something that looks more official, like maybe sort of like a town official or a guard or something, which is funny because you didn't see any guards when you came in. But this guy comes up to Cyrus, and he's holding a thin slab of stone, and he's looking at it, and he's looking at you, and he says, "Oi, what's your name?"
My name is Lord Cyrus Zarall of the House of
Well,
Zarall.
then
Thank you
get
for asking.
down. You're not permitted to be here.
Oh, I am terribly sorry. I did not know that I required a permit. I just arrived here today.
Ignorance is no excuse. Get down now.
Of
Hang on.
course.
I'd like to interrupt and be like, did you not hear him? This is Lord Cyrus Zarall. Have you not heard of him?
He whips over at you with a dagger stare and just says,
Before
"Did you
he can
not
say
hear
anything,
me?"
I
Yeah.
say, well, look at how high up this little person is. You have to listen. You cannot possibly.
Without paying any bearing to what Samson says, he whips around and says, "Did you not hear me? He's not permitted to be here." And then he walks off.
Cyrus is
doesn't
still
do
going to
anything
get down
else.
at this point.
Disrespectful.
Thank you.
Yeah, this
Thank
guy
you
clearly
both.
does not have much respect.
Thank you both, Orpheus and Samson, for defending me, but I really do appreciate it. But let's not cause a kerfuffle. Let's not cause a little uproar on our first day here.
But he's allowing these random people talking about self-mutilation and doing nothing, but he's not allowing you?
Well, maybe there's some way I can get on the list, and then I'll be able to preach more. But I said what I wanted to in the moment, and maybe the opportunity will come up that I can get up and speak to the crowd once again.
As that guy walks away, Vero, Jens, and Orpheus, you guys see the direction he goes. He talks to a few other people and then leaves this area and goes into another building. It is a distinguished looking building, i.e., there is big infernal writing on the side of it, and the door carving into this rock is larger than the other ones, making it quite distinguished looking. So you guys notice that, and Cyrus, as you stop preaching and get off your soapbox, both figuratively and literally, there are some people who come up to you and just start shaking your hand and saying that they really like what you had to say and that they also value purity as the highest form. And some of them go into talking about purity in alignment with your views, and some of them start going into talking about it into more of a neutral and evil sort of view about purity. And yeah, so you got a mixed bag of followers here, but they all
whenever
like purity.
Whenever like they start talking about the more evil side of purity, I try to like steer them in the right direction and just being like, oh, that's a very interesting way of thinking about it. But I really think that it's important to be like considerate of others, and like, the purity is, it's all for the good of people. So let's keep that in mind moving forward as well.
They got that glazed eye look, like that part just went over them. The whole kindness bit is not getting through to those guys. They're more on the side of, yeah, purity. Get rid of the impure. Yeah.
You've taken one word and taken it way out of context, my friend. I'm sorry. I'll be around though. So if you have any more questions, I'll be giving sermons later on, I'm sure.
Yeah. Okay. So they kind of venture off, but one guy in particular sticks around, and this individual is a halfling, and he kind of looks up at you and says, this is some really good stuff. I've been coming to this preacher party. That's what I call it. I don't know what people call it here, but this preacher party for I don't know how long, and you're the only one I've ever heard talk about kindness and purity in the same sentence. So good on you, and I like what you're doing. What's your name?
Oh, the name is Lord Cyrus Zarall of the House of Zarall. And what's yours, my friend?
You can call me Buddy. That's what I call myself, and that's what other people I tell call me.
Well,
I don't remember what my name was
Buddy.
before that, but Buddy's good enough. And he looks at the rest of you and he says, and all you, I'm sure you have stories. What's your story? And he, I'm just going to have him point to everyone in the group here and start with Hati.
I feel like just like what can I say? I was taken quite young, but I was told that I was destined for quite great things. And I'm just on my way to path, on my path to find that and to become that great things that I was destined for.
He kind of squints at you a little bit, not like that he doesn't trust you or what you said, but he squint like he's trying to recall something. And then he widens his eyes a little bit and says, "What's your name?"
Hardy Yerger, something.
Wait,
Unpronounced.
do you say he just wants your first name. You can
Okay,
just give him
just
your
Hati. Yeah, just
Hati.
Hati.
His eyes widen and he repeats your last name, which I also don't know how to say because I'm terrible and an idiot.
I know. I don't know why we chose that.
It made sense when we did it, but anyway. Like the idea was cool, but anyway, he widens his eyes and says, "I might not remember my name, but I remember you." And as soon as he says that and points at you, he has a way, like he's not just pointing like any schmuck that points at someone. He has a way of pointing. It's not just, it's something a little bit fancier. He maybe does like one of these where it's like, and and this sparks something in your memory, and you recall when you were growing up in the Feywild, there was a good friend you had that was also a quote chosen one, and you recognize this halfling. His name's not Buddy. His name was William, but he doesn't know that.
William?
Are you here too to try and
No.
Wait,
Yeah,
no,
do the thing.
Not here?
No, I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, okay, you are. So okay, because I thought I died, but I'm glad you're here.
Ooh, yeah, that's we may have died.
What? Well, how are we gonna prove ourselves if we're dead?
Apparently, this is the way. We have to kind of like I have to help this guy, this golden guy.
Oh, he looks back at you and says, "That makes sense. He does talk like he knows what he's doing."
Yeah, I'm just trying to learn. These guys are all pretty cool.
Yeah, I can't find anyone I can trust down here. I've been approached by a couple people. One old man, and this is definitely a trap. You know it's a trap because it was an old man. He was saying like, "Help me, I can't hear." And I said, "Oh,
Whoa,
really?"
whoa, whoa.
And he didn't respond back to me, so he's clearly lying. So I left him.
Then I look at the rest of the party and I'm like, tell us more about this. Where was this old man?
Oh, I can take you to him. I think he was just he wasn't in town. He was outside of town. I had to travel for, God, it felt like 20 days if I'm being honest, but I don't know if that's just my bad sense of timing. I've ran into some other people that you can't trust as well that also said that time passes weird down here, but I don't believe him because you can't trust him. I don't know what it is, but
By any chance, did you also happen to run into someone who said that they couldn't speak?
Nope. And if I did, I wouldn't know it because they didn't say anything.
It's fair. I wouldn't trust him if they said that they couldn't speak.
That'd be
He points back
suspicious
at
for
Cyrus like he gets it. Yeah.
I got you, buddy.
Yeah, right.
He says, "Look, I can tell you where he is, or I can take you to him. It's your choice. I got some stuff I need to do in town here. I was told by someone who I could definitely trust because they had red glowing eyes, so I knew they were trustworthy because everyone else I talked to didn't have glowing eyes, so can't trust those people. It's like I always said, the brighter someone's eyes, the more pure their intentions." And he kind of gestures over to Cyrus because he mentioned purity.
That is a very interesting thought process. I would definitely say that there is something going on if they've got glowing eyes. I'm not too keen on red glowing eyes, but that's just because my eyes don't glow red. There's nothing wrong with that.
While this is going on, I'm just gonna push my purple glasses further onto my face.
Okay.
Very
So you
subtly.
don't show your red glowing eyes.
Nice. Oh yeah, because you do have red glowing eyes, don't you, Emily? Oh my gosh.
Can I use prestidigitation to briefly make my eyes glow?
Yes, you can. That is definitely something you can do with
Incredible.
prestidigitation.
Perfect.
He kind of looks at the two of you and says, he goes back to Hadi. He's like, "You always had good instincts. I respect that about you."
See? I just
You know,
told the rest
I
of the party.
doubted you, Hati, but no, you pulled through.
Exactly.
He points at Hati. He says, "Hati always knew what was what. Best instincts. Got us out of many pickles where we took the wrong turn and made the wrong decision, but he always knew the right thing to do."
I'm just there and it's like, yeah, you know, I'm the
Very
chosen one
impressive.
after all.
And he leads you guys out of the preacher party, as he put it, and over to some other place. This is a good stopping point here, and we can pick up next session with you guys going with him or getting a map. What do you guys want to take around an NPC, or do you want to just get a map and go on your way? We can make that decision, then call it.
I was thinking a map could work. Like I don't know what else is in this city. I don't know if like there'd be a chance to find information about the other stage as well. So I don't want to be dragging around an NPC the entire time, but
That's fair.
that's just Cyrus's
That's
opinion.
fair.
Well, let's say so he takes you off to a different area of town and grabs a stone slab, and he starts chiseling in a map. So it takes quite a while, and the party gets to have another long rest while he chisels into a piece of stone for what
Nice.
seems like several days.
Time.
If we're taking a rest, would there be a moment to have a private chat with Cyrus?
Yep, we can do that now.
Hey, sitting down. When I was looking at the gem, I know I seemed pretty preoccupied, but I did catch what you said about just being tired. And my friend, I am exhausted. I am exhausted. I live my life following a code because that code was right and it was divine and it was absolute. And that code hurt people who were kind and smart and insightful. It failed to protect the people that it swore to protect. So now I figure I have to try something new. Maybe move a little faster, be a little more aggressive. But you're right. You can't decide right or wrong from appearances. Maybe the talking skull was a helper on the path. Maybe we did a really bad thing. Maybe Veros folk were living some accidental sin by choosing a peaceful life, and that's how they ended up here. And I mean, that's the crux of the problem. What do you trust if you can't trust that smoking, cackling, rude skulls are evil and peaceful furbolgs get dragged to hell? And I'm not asking you for answers. I have to have these questions. Just wanted to say I'm bloody tired too.
Well, yeah, it's never easy, and there's no true answers in any of this. You know, I'd say that one of the core tenets of Zarall is understanding, and you know that there's never a clear path, but you know it's always understanding that there is some middle ground that we need to find. And it's hard. It is, I would say that it is the most difficult tenet to get right. And so many people try, and just understanding when to fight for that goodness that you think you see in someone versus snuffing out that evil that can take so many lives. It's a tough line to draw, but you know, I think that together, if we draw that line together, I think that we can feel that, our path is true, and, we've done the right thing for the right reasons. If together we decide that, something has to happen, if that death, if that violence is unavoidable, that I'm okay with that, and I will protect you. I will protect everyone with every fiber of my being. But let's make sure that it's necessary first.
We can do that.
Right. Well, death is always a tragedy. I'm not sure, it seemed like that skull was alive. Not totally sure how it all works with magic or whatnot, but, death is also natural. So let's learn, let's grow together, and I look forward to drawing that line with you.